Okay, and we're live.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. I'm also gonna post onto our Twitter, cause
Yes.
yeah, dude, I've like reposted so much good stuff to Twitter, like
Oh, yeah.
retweeted.
I saw the notifications going off.
Oh my God, there's some good stuff happening on the internet for
There
us.
is.
It's great. So,
Yes.
yeah, there's some 18 plus content on there. Woo!
Woo! Love to see it.
All right, let me find a photo for us to use.
Hello, Kate.
Kate! Hello, hello. Let me see. We need to take more selfies. Goddamn.
We haven't been in the same city
In so
in so long.
long.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm scrolling back to like some of our old photos from when we first met years ago.
Just go
Damn.
use something. Do you have any that we haven't posted yet?
Yeah, I have this one. I'm gonna use this
Okay.
one.
Which one are you picking?
It's one from when we went to we stopped like a years
The
ago.
bathroom selfies?
No, the hotel room selfie. We're going. We're
I don't
streaming
even remember what that
right
was.
now, talking about Scum Villain chapters. Oh my God, my headphones. Chapters 15 and 16.
Uh, 15 and 16.
youtube.com/at BLHQ podcast. Cool. There we go, guys. Hello, everyone. Hello, Kate Payne.
Hello.
Dude, I've been back on the Manhua train, and
That's so funny you said that because I literally opened my manga app for the longest time ever, and I started rereading Stranger Than Friends.
Stranger Than Friends is so good and
So
wholesome.
cute. Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, that one's really good. Let me see if I talked about the one. Okay, good. Yeah, the one I have planned today, I haven't talked about before, so I'm excited about
Ah,
that.
nice. I don't even think I talked about Stranger Than Friends. Oh nope, not even.
Yeah, you want to talk about that today? I mean, it's like
Uh,
explicit, but
I'll see if I can just do it on the bottom of the show because I'm like in the middle of the plot and I forgot everything that happened at the beginning of the plot. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
yeah,
like right in the middle of like some
same.
fucked up shit that happened. So I'm like, oh, it's kind of dark right now.
Yeah, so I that's what I'm doing with mine is I'm rereading one that I really liked because I didn't realize that the author had like updated a whole new season. I haven't read
Oh,
it in
I
like a
love that.
year,
Yeah.
so there's so much, and so I'm reading. I'm like, God damn, this is so good. So I had to reread it because I completely forgot the plot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
We'll do
yeah,
that bottom of the show.
yeah,
'Cause
for
it's really
sure.
explicit. So,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, yours is explicit.
Mine's
Mine
explicit.
is
Is yours not explicit?
no, it is not
Oh, I'm
explicit.
surprised.
Yeah,
I'm
it was
surprised.
like rated shonen I.
Oh, is it Japanese or instead of Korean?
No, it's still Korean. There's no like
Yeah.
Korean word for like non-smutty
No,
BL, is there?
not
Yeah, yeah,
really.
yeah.
So it's just all BL.
It's just all BL. Yeah. At least Japanese,
Yeah.
they have like the
I'm just
difference between
surprised
yaoi and
because a
shonen
lot of
ai.
Korean BL is just straight up
Smut.
fucking. Yeah.
Straight up smut. So much smut.
So
Yeah.
much.
I mean, I feel like the artists are slaves to their viewers, and if their viewers are
That's what
like, give us smut.
yeah, they're just that's what sells money, and so they're just like, literally just like airplane shooting towards the sky. You just have to do what sells money, and so he ends up writing like a 1,000 chapter smut like light novel. That's what the
Yep.
BL people do.
That is. No, we're
Yep.
here for that. I wanted it.
Yeah.
I need it in
Yeah.
my life. All right, cool. Let me open up my notes. Where'd I put it? Okay. All right, you want to get started? Let's do it. Welcome to BLHQ. I'm Stella Chu.
And I'm Jenny Belly.
We're two big danmei fans, and this is season 2 of our weekly podcast where we talk about Scum Villain Self-Saving System written by MXTX. We'll be deep diving into each chapter, discussing the story and our overall impressions. Beware, there's going to be fangirling ahead. And if you enjoy our podcast, please consider supporting us on Patreon, where you can get unedited recordings and bonus episodes. Or you can follow us for free on Twitter at BLHQ Podcast.
And a recap of last week's episode. Luo Binghe brings Shen Qingqiu into his palace in the demon realm. He tries to show him kindness, but Shen Qingqiu doesn't trust any of his actions. They end up brawling when suddenly Shen Qingqiu goes into a seizure and faints. When he wakes up, he finds himself in the holy mausoleum in the demon realm, summoned into his old body, by Tianlang Jun and Zhu Leng. Tianlang Jun's plan is to massacre everyone in the four great sects, but he needs something from Lo Binghe, so he's using Shen Qingqiu as bait. Lo Binghe breaks into the mausoleum, but he's not strong enough to defeat his father. Shen Qingqiu uses his knowledge from the novels to get through all the booby traps in the hall and escape with Lo Binghe.
Yeah, last episode was kind of traumatic because suddenly Shen Qingqiu dies right in front of Lo Binghe for like the third time.
That's the most saddest fucking scene, and they just skipped over it like so quickly. They're just like, oh yeah, my corpse shriveled up, and Lo Binghe like freaked out and like summoned like 200 rhinoceros demons to like break through into this like really heavily secured like building. Like that was just crazy.
Yeah, it's completely glossed over just how epic it is.
Yeah. And also like Lo Binghe and his father's fight was just really like, it's also like really like epic and like bloody because like Tianlang Jun is so strong. But again, that's so glossed over. Like everything's just like, oh yeah, this crazy amazing thing happened, but this is a sentence long.
Just a sentence long. Oh man.
Yeah.
This is why the fan fictions are so strong.
Yes,
I love it.
The details. We need the details.
Chapter 15, Holy Mausoleum, Part 2. After exiting the three halls, Shen Qingqiu and Luo Binghe find themselves in a dark and silent corridor. Their breathing triggers a bunch of last breath candles, lighting up the entire hallway in green. A group of blind corpses start approaching them, but Luo Binghe simply raises his hand with a cold look on his face, and the corpses retreat into the shadows with lowered heads. Shen Qingqiu watches him and notices that Luo Binghe's face is red and he's avoiding eye contact. How strange. He always stared intently at him before. Why is he acting all awkward now? Shen Qingqiu is literally wearing a sleeping robe and has his hair loose. Oh, that's why. He's pretty much naked.
He was summoned into his old body, which was in like funeral robes, which is just like just thin white sleeping clothes, and his hair is undone because he was like dead. So like, you know, he's just like walking around with like the thinnest layer of clothing.
Damn.
Yeah.
Suddenly, Luo Binghe asks, "Are the meridians of that body working well?" Shen Qingqiu is thrown off by the question, but replies that everything is fine.
I think it's also like really badass that Lo Binghe just looks at the walking corpses and they just like leave them alone.
Yeah, well,
They're, like,
because
oh,
he's
God.
strong enough to enter into the Holy Mausoleum.
Well, Lo Binghe did spend 5 years trying to fix this body, so he nods and says, "That's good. I preserved the other body for a few days, but it's still withered in the end. That doesn't bode well if anything goes wrong with this one." Can you imagine? He just like, he saw the dead body, he just like tried to preserve it for a few more days after it like shriveled up. Oh my
Dude,
God,
that's so
fucked up.
fucked.
So fucked up.
He's just pouring his spiritual energy into it, and it's
Yes.
just shriveling.
Yeah, Lo Binghe is just like an endless supply of energy.
Bro, that's so sad.
Shen Qingqiu is shocked that Lo Binghe managed to even keep the mushroom body alive for a few days. Normally it withers instantaneously, so Lo Binghe must have used a shit ton of spiritual energy just to preserve it for that long. Then, Lo Binghe says that those two demons from earlier aren't good companions. Even if Shen Qingqiu doesn't want to stay with him, he shouldn't associate with them. He encountered Zhu Long in a fight in the past and he barely won, and this was his first time meeting Tianlang Jun, but he couldn't win against him either. At this point, Lo Binghe doesn't know who they are and how he is related to them.
Ah, it's your daddy.
Yeah, your cousin, and he's like, they're really strong. Like you shouldn't associate with them. They're bad news. Yeah.
Shen Qingqiu notices that Luo Binghe is limping as he walks, and with mixed emotions, he moves to support him. But suddenly, Luo Binghe collapses. Shen Qingqiu is unable to fully support his weight, and he slams into the wall. He touches Luo Binghe's back. He realizes that the corpse rain had corroded his clothes, and the skin on his back is rotting.
Oh no.
He pats Luo Binghe's cheek lightly to make him wake up, but his face is hot and red with fever. No matter what Shen Qingqiu does, Luo Binghe doesn't wake up. Shen Qingqiu realizes that in the past few days, Luo Binghe exhausted all of his spiritual energy trying to keep the mushroom body alive, only for it to wither up and die. Then he caught hundreds of rhinoceros pythons to break into the Holy Mausoleum. Then he got beaten up by Tianlang Jun and hit with corpse rain. Luo Binghe is in a serious condition.
Oh no, poor baby.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my God. Like no matter how protagonist you are, like he just went through a shit ton in the last few days. Like, Oh my god.
He's all beat up and battered. His
I
HP is
know.
like negative right
I know.
now.
Like at the bottom, like a sliver left. Like literally his flesh is like dissolving from the corpse rain from the
Gross.
previous booby trap, and he's just like, loving her. He tried so hard just to get this one person who doesn't even like return his affection. It's so sad.
Mm-hmm.
That brings us into chapter 16, Melting Ice Part 1. With Lobingha unconscious, the blind corpses begin to approach them again. Chen Qingqiu summons Shuya to slice through them, but more corpses appear and they easily dodge the blade, which is reflecting too much light. He tries to use spiritual energy to blast them, but his energy is not limitless, and this old body has less energy storage than the mushroom one he got accustomed to. He brings Lobingha's body away as he kicks corpses back, but they are never ending, and he accidentally keeps crashing Lobingha's head against the stone wall. Oh my god. Chen Qingqiu guiltily cradles the back of Lobingha's head, and he already feels a bump there. Let's not give him brain damage, okay? Eventually, Chen Qingqiu runs and finds a room that has a bunch of coffins. Maybe it's like a storage chamber? He finds an empty one and leaps inside, dragging Lobingha inside with him before the blind corpses can catch up.
Once again, coffin scene.
Coffin. So many coffin scenes.
MXTX is obsessed with coffins.
Yeah.
Every
coffin kink.
right? Yeah, every single one of her books has coffin stuff in it.
It's like it's an enclosed space. There's two bodies in them. They can't really move.
There was a dead person in there at some point.
Yeah, coffins. Kinky.
Senjincho slams into the bottom of the coffin, and then Lobingha's body smashes on top of him. Senjincho can barely breathe. What has this kid been eating? He looks so slim. How is he so heavy? Senjincho only is able to close the coffin lid halfway before the last breath candle and blind corpses find their way inside the room. He can hear the corpses shuffling outside and tries to stay as calm and still as possible. But Lobingha's demonic mark is on his forehead But Lobingha's demonic mark on his forehead is glowing red and is attracting the corpses towards them. Senjincho curses. Why does it have to be so damn bright? He turns his head and uses his mouth to cover the mark.
He's kissing his forehead.
He could have held his hand up to cover it.
No hands available. Just the mouth.
Just the mouth, apparently. He thinks to himself, it's whatever, don't think about it. Survival comes first.
He secretly wanted to kiss his fucking forehead. Let's just be real here.
Also, that's probably Lobingha's kink too, because he likes being kissed on the forehead, especially on the demon mark. Then, that's your turn.
But then a corpse's hand reaches into the coffin to grope around. Thankfully, the coffin is deep enough that the corpse does not reach them, but suddenly it reaches down even lower, almost touching Lobingha's spine. Panicking, Shenqingqiu uses his arms to push Lobingha down closer against him, pressing them tightly together. But Lobingha's body is so hard. What is that? An 8-pack? A slab of rock? But just then, the corpse changes directions and almost touches Lobingha's legs. Quickly, Shenqingqiu spreads his legs open to put Lobingha's legs in between his. There is no more space now. He can't make them any smaller. Can it please go away? Eventually, the corpse leaves after feeling empty air, and Shenqingqiu lets out a sigh of relief.
Lamau.
Oh, literally, his legs just like open with Lobingha's legs in between them, and he's like hugging him tightly, like squeezing him to his chest.
Yep, and with his mouth on his demon mark.
His forehead, yeah. So, wow, what a position.
It's a great position. K-Pain's like, you gotta do what you gotta do to survive. That's
absolutely.
true.
He's just doing it for survival. No other ulterior motive.
Yeah,
obviously.
not like he likes his skin or anything. Wants to feel his
to
abs.
do this to like not die.
Rub his crotch against his crotch.
No, of course not. They're literally just crotch to crotch right now. They're just like one person right now.
Love it. Love it. This position is entirely too improper. Senjincho is about to push Lobingha up when suddenly he hears a voice saying, "It's far too early to relax." Immediately, Senjincho flips them over so that Lobingha is beneath him. He then brandishes his sword and sits up in full alert. Who is it? But all the blind corpses have left, so the room is empty. Who is talking? The voice says, "If this elder wanted to go unseen, even if you searched the entirety of the holy mausoleum, you wouldn't find him." Senjincho realizes that the voice is of Mengmo, and he sheaths his sword. In the next instant, an old man appears in the chamber and sits on top of one of the coffins.
Shen Qingqiu realizes that Shen Qingqiu Shen Qingqiu says that he must be dreaming if Meng Mo is here. And remember, Meng Mo is the dream demon that was stuck living inside Lo Binghe's head and taught him all his demonic powers while he was stuck in the endless abyss.
Yeah, he's kind of Lo Binghe's like uncle mentor in a way, because Lo Binghe will never accept him as like an actual teacher.
Refuses to call him Shizun. He asks for help entering Lo Binghe's dream realm in order to wake him up, but Meng Mo says that he can't wake him up or get inside. Lo Binghe's spirit is too chaotic, and he's sunken into a dream from which he cannot wake. This only happens to people who are on the verge of death. For the past 5 years, he's worn himself down performing soul summoning rituals. On top of that, he's massacred his dream realm creations, which destroyed his own spirit. He wasted all his energy trying to save that mushroom body, and Shinmo even took that opportunity to revolt. And then he fought the most powerful heavenly demon in history. This was bound to happen sooner or later.
Damn, that's really messed up. Look at him.
It's like bam after bam after bam.
If Lo Binghe doesn't die, it would be a miracle right now.
Protagonist, plot armor, please.
Shen Qingqiu asks, Senior truly has no way to wake him? Meng Mo replies, I'm powerless to help. Shen Qingqiu bows and then lays back down in the coffin. Meng Mo asks, what are you doing? Shen Qingqiu replies, sleeping until I wake up. He's so sassy.
He's like, fuck you can't help me, I'm gonna go back to bed.
Meng Mo becomes angry. You dare ignore this elder? Shen Qingqiu closes his eyes. Since Senior says he was powerless to help, then I can only wait until I wake up and get him out of here myself. Meng Mo humps and says that the Holy Mausoleum is dangerous. He can't possibly protect Lo Binghe alone. Shen Qingqiu sighs and says, but in this moment, other than I, his master, who else can protect him? Or, to put it another way, who else would protect him?
Aww, Lo Binghe only has Shen Qingqiu. No matter what, even if his feelings are a mess, even if the situation is a mess, he can't let Lo Binghe die here. Meng Mo says in a cold voice, after so many years, you're finally willing to admit that this brat is your disciple and that you are his Shizun? Then he sighs and says, if this brat could wake up and hear those words of yours, who knows how overjoyed he'd be. And then he shouts in rage, I'm clearly this kid's Shifu. Just how much have I taught him, huh? Power to overturn the heavens, techniques to manipulate every heart. Yet he refuses to call me Shifu. You, a common cultivator, merely taught him a few superficial forms and half-baked techniques, but he chases after you, crying and yelling and calling you Shizun. It drives me up the wall.
He's jealous.
So jealous. He's like throwing a temper tantrum. Like, what is going on here?
It's because Meng Mo's ugly. Shen Qingqiu is a
He's
peerless
just an old
beauty.
man. He's just an old man.
Shen Qingqiu is angry too. How dare he call Changchang Mountain sex sword techniques superficial? But before he can open his mouth, Meng Mo explodes, finally letting all his pent-up feelings out. He says that he should have killed Shen Qingqiu when they first met. Lo Binghe has so much potential, but as soon as he's around Shen Qingqiu, he acts like a good-for-nothing, pretending to act all aloof. He should either kill him or do him, making all this fuss of will he, won't he is too infuriating to watch. Shen Qingqiu can't listen to this anymore. He snaps, are you done? If you're done, can you let me wake up? Meng Mo says angrily that even if he woke up, the crack in the barrier that Lo Binghe made to enter the Holy Mausoleum is already closed. So how will he leave?
Oh my god, I love Meng Mo. He's just like, why? Just fuck and get it over with. Why are you acting like this?
Love it.
Shen Qingqiu doesn't give up. The place where Lo Binghe broke in might still be weak. Perhaps he can use Shinmo to open it up again. Meng Mo says that Shinmo might not allow Shen Qingqiu to use it. Shen Qingqiu replies that he has no choice. He has to try. In the next moment, Shen Qingqiu wakes up and he finds himself lying on the stone coffin with Lo Binghe on top of him. He tries to sit up when suddenly his right leg brushes against something stiff, jabbing into his thigh.
Woo!
At first he thinks that it's his sword hilt. So he reaches down to move it, but as soon as he touches it, the system explodes. Yo! Protagonist satisfaction points plus 1,000! Congratulations on unlocking this achievement. Physical relationship advancement.
Oh my god, you touched his dick!
You touched it.
You
You
touched it!
You touched it. Oh my god, you touched it. It was not a sword hilt after all. Nope.
Woo.
And also, like, how are we getting protagonist satisfaction points when Lobing is literally, like, unconscious? Like, shouldn't he be conscious for this? Like, what the fuck? How does this work?
Probably.
System, how do you work?
What the hell? Senjincho looks down and stiffens into a dry husk. That is not a sword. That is not a sword hilt. It's the heavenly pillar. The heavenly pillar. He's going to kill everyone in this room and then himself. After flailing about, he slaps himself across the face. It's a natural phenomenon when a guy is asleep, okay?
It's really hard. It's really hard and big. It's a heavenly pillar.
Oh my god. It'll go away on its own, right? But just letting it sit there and not do anything about it, isn't it kind of painful?
Shenjin-cho, what are these thoughts? What are these thoughts?
Wow.
What are these thoughts?
Okay, listen, don't ever let a guy trick you into thinking that it's painful, okay? He could deal with it himself. You have no responsibility.
But, like, how gay is he? He's like, oh, that looks really painful. Like, do I need to help him out with that? Like, no one would think that way unless he wanted to touch it. You know, like, he just wants to touch it.
He just wants to.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like he can help Lobinghe jerk off, right? Just pretend he didn't see anything. As a season, he has no duty to help his disciple simmer down. Senjincho shoves Lobinghe off of him and drags him out of the coffin. Oh my god.
Shenjin-cho, you are so in the closet, it's like not even funny.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my god.
You are just so repressed. He just has these thoughts. They go to the east end of the mausoleum, where Mengmo says that Lobinghe broke through the barrier. The further Shenjin-cho goes, the more damp and slippery the walls become, until eventually they are covered in green moss and vegetation. There are tree roots and flowers and vines all over the hall, even insects and birds. Eventually, he finds himself in a large room that looks like a forest, with white crystals embedded in the ceiling in an imitation of the night sky. Every tomb in the mausoleum is personally designed by a demon noble while they are still alive, and they decorate their space according to their preferences. The owner of this tomb, is it tomb or tome?
Tomb.
Tomb. The owner of this tomb must have been gifted in herbology, cultivating poisonous mushrooms, cultivating poisonous flowers and rare plants.
So I have a question about the Holy Mausoleum, and it kind of answered it just now. I'm imagining that all of these like royal demons who are they're the only people who can enter the Holy Mausoleum. No one else can enter. So no servants. So the Holy Mausoleum itself is probably dirty AF. It's probably so messy.
Yeah, it's like full of like dusty like treasures and like rare artifacts and like only the people who have the heavenly blood, of which there are only 3 in this universe right now because everyone else is like deceased. Yeah, so
it's just funny to me.
A bunch of underground caves.
It's kind of like a rich person's basement that they don't let their servants go and clean, and it's just disgusting, and there's like rotten pizza boxes everywhere because like they don't know how to take care of themselves.
Well, this tomb has like a bunch of insects and birds, so maybe the birds naturally clean up after. It's like a jungle right now. It's like a jungle.
I'm imagining that. That's funny.
Yeah. Wait, there's also like blind corpses. Maybe they get the corpses to tidy up.
Yep.
Because there's monsters everywhere guarding the thing.
Yeah. They have to do chores.
They have chores.
And defend the place.
That's their role.
For free. No pay. Senjincho removes his outer robe and drapes it over his... Wait. Oh, I see. Okay. Is he only wearing one robe? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Senjincho removes his outer robe and drapes it over his and Lobinghe's head, carefully walking onwards. But suddenly they are attacked by a blade shooting towards them. Quickly, Senjincho summons Shuya to block, but then a second blade appears, aimed at Lobinghe's throat. Senjincho hesitates to throw Lobinghe aside. The plants surrounding them are too dangerous. In a moment of desperation, he twists and raises his arm, catching the second sword with his bare hands. It tears open his palm, pouring blood all over his clothes and the ground. Senjincho looks up and sees 2 figures emerge from the trees. An instant, It's Chu Hai Tong. It's Cho Hai Tong and the old palace master of Huanghe Palace. Where the fuck did they
The
come
most
from?
random two characters to have ever appeared ever.
They didn't need to be here. How did they get in here?
Okay, so if we don't remember, Cho Hai Tong is the one who was like quote unquote engaged to Shenxing Cho in the past, and also the one that like threw him under the bus when like the sowers were like wreaking havoc in the city. It's like she was like the last nail in the coffin that made him become like a really suspicious person and like ruin his reputation. And she said that she claimed that he murdered like her entire family, and like and he was supposed to be engaged to her, but then ran away. So she's here all of a sudden.
Yeah, she has a vindictive personality. Like she wants
She's
revenge.
out for revenge. She's like, you killed everyone and you left me. I'm out for you. And she couldn't find him this whole entire time because he was like a peak lord, and she never in her entire life would have imagined that he would become a peak lord. So that's why she hasn't seen him all this time.
Yeah.
Until now. Yeah.
And then the old palace master of Huanghe Palace, when was the last time we saw him? He had disappeared, according to the little palace mistress.
After Lo Binghe became the leader of Huanghe Palace, he was gone. But Shen Qingqiu had died. The last time he saw him was when he got arrested in the water prison. Because after he died from the explosion, that's when Lo Binghe took over Huanghe Palace, and that other old guy disappeared.
Don't know where.
Here he is now.
Shen Qingqiu is worried that he's here for revenge against Lo Binghe, so he tucks.
I didn't say this part.
Whoops.
Yeah, you're good. Cho Hai Tong pushes the old palace master forward on a wheelchair. His entire body below his neck is covered in a thick blanket. The sword that Shen Qingqiu caught is still pushing forward, causing him to hold it even tighter, almost cutting his hand right off. But he keeps his face serene as he says with a fake smile, "Miss Cho, old palace master, I hope you've been well." Cho Hai Tong says with rage, "Do I think I look well?
Oh, do you think?
Do you think I look well? What the heck? He just asked as a greeting. He didn't mean anything by it." But the old palace master looks filthy and wrinkled, completely different from his immortal, pristine appearance back at the Alliance conference. He reveals that he actually was not in seclusion as the entire cultivation world was led to believe. No thanks to that little disciple of his.
Shen Qingqiu is worried that he's here for revenge against Lo Binghe, so he tucks him behind himself, shielding him as much as possible. Chu Hai Tong spits out, "Senjo, I said it long ago. I wouldn't mistake you even if you burned to ash. I knew your self-detonation in Huayue City must have been some sort of trick, dying to atone for your crimes. As if you were that sort of person. I saw through you at first sight in that demon vixen's territory. So you didn't die after all. Ever since Cho Hai Tong saw him in Sha Hualing's cave, she must have kept an eye out for him, and then snuck into the holy mausoleum under Lo Binghe's nose when he was too exhausted to notice any intruders. Wow, you really can't underestimate a woman's grudge."
Damn, that she was determined. She is determined. I can't believe she like stalked her way all the way over here. Seeing the two of them together, Shen Qingqiu realizes that the old palace master was the one responsible for Cho Hai Tong's surprise appearance in Jinlan City. He wonders what exactly he did to offend the old palace master so much. But the old palace master says that when Lo Binghe joined Huanhua Palace, he mentored him to take over the sect. But Lo Binghe refused to call him master or marry his daughter. Instead, he obsessed over Shen Qingqiu. The old palace master looked into Shen Qingqiu's background to see what was so special about him, and was surprised to find out all about his old affairs. So it turns out that all the disciples of Huanhua Palace disliked Shen Qingqiu, not because Lo Binghe brainwashed them, but because of the old palace master's influence.
Ah, that is revealed now. He was jealous.
He literally blamed him for everything, and it was none of his fault.
The old palace master just wanted to adopt Lo Binghe.
Yeah. And Lo Binghe was like, "No, I can't live here. I'm obsessed with Shiz, and I'm obsessed with Shen Qingqiu." And he's like, "What's so good about this Shen Qingqiu anyway?"
Fuck
and
that
he,
guy.
Like, found out all his dirty secrets, and he found Chu Hai Tong and like got all the information from her. Damn.
Shen Qingqiu looks at the unconscious Lo Binghe. If only he was less stubborn and agreed to take on another master, so many problems could have been avoided. Shen Qingqiu sighs. "The old palace master has looked upon my disciple highly. Yet the palace master's 2 sword strikes were clearly directed at him. Your words and actions don't seem to align. The old palace master replies, back then was back then. Now things are not as they were. Peak Lord Sun, please step aside. I do not care what happens to you. I just want this boy to pay for what he's done. But Cho Hai Tung laughs and says, he'll leave you be, but I'm still here.
Oh my god. 2 worst people. The old palace master says, how dare Lo Binghe do this to him after everything he's done for him? He won't rest until he's killed. Chen Qingqiu replies that Lo Binghe spared his life and his daughter's life. He could have killed them easily instead. But then Chu Haitong tears off the blanket on the old palace master, and Chen Qingqiu is shocked, silent. The old palace master has become a human stick. All his legs and arms are cut off. No wonder the old man has a grudge. Why didn't Lo Binghe just kill him? Why leave him like this? Chen Qingqiu analyzes the situation. Lo Binghe is still the protagonist. Perhaps his plot armor can still keep him alive against the palace master? But he still hesitates to step aside. Plot armor or not, he just can't watch Lo Binghe get hurt and bet on whether he will live or die.
Woo, the human stick curse got passed on to another.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Shen Qingqiu's original fate, but now it's the old palace master's fate. He just became a torso.
Yeah,
A torso.
gross.
Just
Gross torso.
Yeah, gross.
But at least he can still command his swords, though. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, he can use his chi to like make the swords fly on its own, but like, yeah, he has no arms or legs. That's awkward. Just the head.
Gross.
Yeah.
Suddenly, the old palace master opens his mouth and uses his spiritual energy to shout out a blast attack. Sin Cho uses his bleeding hand to block a few waves with his sword sheath, but his other hand is busy holding Lo Binghe behind him. Despite being a human stick, the old palace master still has all his spiritual energy, and his howls manage to crack Shuya's sheath. Eventually, a blast forces Sin Cho to fall backwards, but he turns at the last second to use his own body to protect Lo Binghe, cushioning his fall. Aww, he's
protecting him so hard.
So hard.
He's, like, literally, his hand almost got cut off, and he's still like protecting him.
Cho Hai Tong pushes the old palace master closer, who comments, You really do protect him a great deal. Cho Hai Tong screeches, Fake. It's all fake, this bastard. Who's he putting on a show for?
Oh my gosh. He's like a whole other person, Cho Hai Tong. You don't even know.
Yeah, Senjo's gone.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Yeah. Chen Qingqiu gently blows some white fluff away from Lo Binghe's face. The old palace master thinks that Chen Qingqiu has accepted defeat, so he ignores him, looking to Lo Binghe instead. But suddenly, his expression changes and he sighs. They look almost alike when his eyes are closed, or when his expression is cold. Chen Qingqiu feels queasy and pulls Lo Binghe closer, saying, Take a good look. This is not Su Xian. The old palace master breaks out of his daze and he spits out angrily. Why wouldn't you listen to my orders? Why wouldn't you just listen to me? Was I not good to you? Didn't you want Huanhua Palace? Didn't you want my seat? I knew you wanted it, ever since you were young. If you just listened to me, what wouldn't I have passed down to you? But one after the next, both of you ingrates spat on everything I gave you. Spat on everything I gave you.
The old palace master curses Tiananjin and Sin Cho, roaring with rage. And then suddenly, his face makes an abrupt 180, becoming gentle and parental. Xian, come here. Zen has something for you. Drink up. He looks like he's in a trance, with saliva dripping from his lips.
Ew.
Cho Hai Tong is disgusted and backs away. Sen Cho finally realizes the truth. The old palace master's love for Su Xiyang, Lo Binghe's mother, was no different from molestation.
He literally raised her.
Ugh,
Ugh.
that's awkward.
Yeah.
No wonder she betrayed her sect to run off with a demon without hesitation. And no wonder the old palace master was so obsessed with Lo Binghe. His perverse possessiveness of Su Xiyang passing on to him. No wonder Lo Binghe carved him up into a human stick. Yeah. Well deserved.
Yeah. Because Lo Binghe looks so much like his mother. And I guess like as soon as Lo Binghe entered the palace, the the creepy old man was really, really creepy towards him. And Lo Binghe's like, not on my watch.
Gross.
Yeah. But he still doesn't know that Sushian is his mother. It's the sad thing. Like, he doesn't know who his parents are. He just saw this old man being a creep towards him.
Gross.
Shen Qingqiu cradles Lo Binghe's head into his chest so that the old palace master can't keep fantasizing about him. This is too much. He shouts, "Have you had enough?" Now that he can't see Lo Binghe's face, the old palace master's gaze turns hateful. He opens his mouth to launch another spiritual attack. But no sound comes out. His entire body is frozen. Shen Qingqiu laughs mentally. "Haha, it's here. You really thought I was some dumbass Mother Teresa who wouldn't hit back when attacked? You really thought I was too weak to fight?" Shen Qingqiu has purposely not used his spiritual energy in this chamber because all around them is white fluff floating in the air like dandelion seeds. It's a demonic plant called ties that bind.
Ah, so clever. So clever.
So smart.
This plant is attracted to people with spiritual energy, and it plants its seeds inside their bodies. The more energy that's used, the faster they take root and bloom. The old palace master is now covered in green vines sprouting through his flesh. He's still alive and in intense pain, but he can't move or speak. Cho Haidong trembles in horror at the sight, immediately fainting on the spot. One can't move, and one is unconscious. TKO, total knockout. Shen Qingqiu sighs in relief and pulls Lo Binghe up, but just then a deep, uncontrollable pain crawls up his right arm. He looks down to see that some of the seeds have planted in his arm when he was using some spiritual power earlier to block the 2 sword strikes. Well, it's fine. At least Lo Binghe is safe. Not his right arm again.
Why is he always like right now? Shen Qingqiu is like really fucked up right now. Like his entire like right arm has like seeds and plants growing out of it, and his other hand is like fucking cut up from the sword strike earlier, and there's like blood all over his robes, and he's just in bloody robes. Like he's just so fucked up right now.
His body just woke up too.
Literally just refreshed in his body, like a brand new body. As Shen Qingqiu drags Lo Binghe out, the old palace master cries out and jerks himself out of the wheelchair. He painfully squirms through the grass like a worm and mutters, "Don't go, don't go, don't you go." With the last of his energy, he opens his mouth and roars out a final spiritual blast. Shen Qingqiu barely manages to block it with his cracked sheath. The vibrations of energy hit his arm, stirring the bloody roots inside. He's in agony, but he holds on tightly to Lo Binghe. The old palace master rolls towards Chu Haitong and yells, "Aren't you going to kill Shen Qingqiu? He's right before your eyes and you're asleep? Get up! Kill him! Kill them all!"
But when Cho Haitong wakes, she sees the bloody body covered in vines close to her face, and she screams and draws her sword, flailing it about. Shen Qingqiu warns her to calm down. If she uses more spiritual energy, she'll draw the seeds to her. Truthfully, he has no grudges against her. I mean, her hatred is with the original Shen Qingqiu, not him. But when Cho Haitong sees Shen Qingqiu, she trembles and says, "It's not possible. Not possible. It's fake. It's all fake. It wasn't my brother. My brother didn't do anything wrong. It couldn't have been him. You're lying. I didn't know. I didn't know it was like that. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything at all. So why do I have to suffer for so many years?"
Shen Qingqiu is completely confused. What is she talking about? Did something happen while she was unconscious? Why is she acting like a completely different person right now? Cho Haitong screams at Shen Qingqiu. "What exactly did you think of me? Did you hate me? Pity me? Want me to suffer a fate worse than death? Why didn't you kill me? Why didn't you kill me?" Shen Qingqiu is stumped. Cho Haitong turns and runs away. Shen Qingqiu yells at her to come back. It's too dangerous to run around randomly, but she's already gone. Shen Qingqiu can't exactly chase after her, so he mentally lights a candle for her and continues on. Bruh. He
He's
just like
I don't know.
shrugs.
Shrug.
I don't know. She's already gone. Good luck to her. Rip. The old palace master can't do anything now, and in a fit of madness, he starts eating the grass and leaves beneath him, laughing as he chews. The vines and flowers sprout faster and faster all over his body until finally he's completely covered and stops moving.
Gross.
Bro, I wonder what happened to Cho Hai Tong while she was unconscious.
Yeah, who
I wonder
knows?
what happened to her. Why is she suddenly like gone crazy and saying all that shit?
Curious, curious. I mean, we already know what happened, so
We
like,
know, yeah.
you guys are gonna find out
People
later.
who already read this already know, but it must be mysterious to the unknown people.
Tiananju's voice suddenly appears through a voice transmitting spell. Peak Lord Zen has played such a spectacular game of hide and seek. Why don't we guess when we'll meet again? Senjincho is in pain. The ties that bind Plant has already crept down his leg. If this keeps up, he won't be able to walk. He glances at Lo Binghe and clenches his teeth. Then, mentally steeling himself, he tears open his robe, grabbing a handful of bloody vines, and pulls. His mind goes blank. A chunk of his flesh has been torn out. Senjincho pants for breath, sobbing. It hurts so fucking much. This was right around when I was reading that I was like, this book has now gone from LOL to oh no, oh no, oh no.
Yeah, that's disgusting. Like, there's literally just imagine like your whole body, but there's like literally vines snaking in and out of your flesh, and, like growing out of your body, out of the pores. Like there's flowers and leaves and vines, like just pointy, like thorny vines just coming out of your pores, and like the only way to get it out is to pull it out.
Oh, gross.
Blood everywhere.
Gross.
Dying. But even though he's bleeding, at least he can walk now. Tianlangjin knows where they are, so he needs to move faster. After leaving the forest tomb, Shenjingqiu finds another chamber. He sees an empty stone coffin and carefully places Lo Binghe inside. When he tests Lo Binghe's forehead with the back of his hand, he finds that it's still scorching hot with fever. Even the demon mark on Lo Binghe's forehead is growing redder and brighter. Shenjingqiu places Shin Mo in Lo Binghe's hand and then slowly closes the coffin.
Another coffin scene. You can't stop with the coffins.
Buried him in a little coffin. It's fine.
Yeah.
You take a little nap.
You have some air in there. It's fine.
Yeah.
Tiananjin and Cicilong finally find Senjinqiu. His robes are a bloody mess. His face is pale, but he stands with Xue drawn in the center of a chamber with a cool expression. Tiananjin is shocked. We were separated for a mere moment. How has Peak Lord Sen ended up in such a woeful state? On the other hand, Tiananjun was engulfed in fire, but he looks totally fine. Only the edges of his robes are a little bit singed. What the hell kind of logic is that? Senjinqiu says that Lo Binghe left, but Tiananjun doesn't believe him. He would never leave without Senjinqiu. But when Tiananjun tries to take a step forward, he realizes he can't move. Senjinqiu smiles. This chamber belongs to the Mobi clan, who are ice demons. Tiananjun is covered in ice crystals from the waist down. Cicilong is even worse, with both of his legs and one of his arms already frozen solid.
Yes, this is the same Mobe that's Mobe Jin's family, and they are all ice demons. So of course they have an ice chamber trap.
Yeah, freezer.
Shenjingqiu thinks how convenient it is that the mausoleum is full of traps that he can use, so he doesn't have to fight with his own hands. As soon as anything warm enters the chamber, it is frozen into an ice statue until it shatters into shards. Shenjingqiu knew this beforehand, so he lowered his body temperature as much as he could before he entered. That's why his face is so pale. Tianlangjin tries to use his demonic qi, but the ice doesn't melt. He says, "So I genuinely wasn't mistaken. Peak Lord Shen knows my race's forbidden mausoleum practically as well as the back of his hand." Shenjingqiu simply waves and moves to leave. Tianlangjin turns to Zhu Lang and says, "I told you that if you're truly determined to bring Peak Lord Shen into the demon realm, you would have to guarantee that he wouldn't cause trouble. You know what you have to do."
Oh, do what? Oh no. Senjinqiu suddenly feels a sense of foreboding. Zicilong says, "Immortal Master Sen, my apologies." But before he can react, Senjinqiu feels blood parasites activate in all the veins in his body, and he struggles to stay standing. Oh no, more pain!
no.
He just experienced so much pain.
He's getting so beat up right now, like just one after another.
Tianlanjun asks, "Peak Lord, this can't be the first time you've drunk Heavenly Demon's blood. How are you still not accustomed to it?" Senjinqiu asks, When did you make me drink it? Tianlanju teases. Peak Lord Sen, don't forget, your immortal body was in our hands for no short amount of time. There's really too much we could have done. Too much.
Wow.
Like,
Wow.
oh, what could
Wow.
they have done
What
to
are they
his body?
insinuating? Yeah.
No wonder they were able to track him down so easily.
It's infected with fucking blood parasites all the time now. Just forever.
His body is not his own.
Nope. Chen Qingqiu ignores the pain and keeps walking. The two demons are still frozen, so he has a chance to escape. But the more he walks, the fiercer the blood parasites get. Tianlan Jun remarks, to be able to walk so far even in this state, Pete Lork Shen must have an iron will. Truly an extraordinary person. Or should I say that you're willing to throw even your life away for my son? Yu Long says, my lord, the subordinate can't suppress it anymore. At that moment, Shen Qingqiu feels the pain disappear, and he immediately breaks into a run. Tianlang Jun is surprised. Can't your blood suppress him? Yu Lang is confused. It could before, but for some reason this time it can't.
Sen Qingqiu's body is at its limit, but he still continues to move forward. He has to get Lo Binghe and he has to escape, but he pushed himself too far and his knee gives out. Before he hits the ground, someone catches him. Sen Qingqiu's vision is blurry as he looks up, but he sees Lo Binghe's furious eyes looking back down on him. Tianlan Jun and Su Zilang are completely covered in ice now. Lo Binghe enters the hall, stomping down on the ice crystals that try to form on his boots. He slams his hand against the statues, but they don't break. Sen Qingqiu explains that the crystals aren't easy to shatter and attacking it won't kill the people inside. They might as well focus on escaping the mausoleum.
Lo Binghe whips around and goes to Shen Qingqiu again. Shen Qingqiu is happy to see Lo Binghe awake again and is about to ask how he's feeling when Lo Binghe roars furiously. Didn't I tell you not to associate with them? Shen Qingqiu stares at him blankly, before a flame of anger erupts in his heart. Well, it looks like Lo Binghe is better now. Fine. He turns and starts walking in a random direction. Actually, Shen Qingqiu has no idea where he's going. He needs Lo Binghe and Shinmo to escape from here. But he seriously just staked his damn life, dragging Lo Binghe all the way, only for him to yell at him? No thank you. But Shen Qingqiu doesn't get too far before Lo Binghe catches up to him and grabs his arm. Lo Binghe says, are you crying?
Oh!
He's crying. He's mad. Bro, he went through all this shit just for him to get yelled at. I'm like, and then he just starts just bursting into tears. Like,
oh, poor boy.
I feel bad. I feel bad.
Sen Qingqiu is frozen. Is he crying? Is he crying? Not possible. Sen Qingqiu wipes his cheek with his uninjured hand and, oh, indeed, there are tears streaming down his cheeks. Sen Qingqiu reasons that this must be tears of pain from the ties that bind Plant still rooted in his arm and leg. How unsightly. Lo Binghe's anger disappears and he says, so earlier when I heard the faint sounds of Sitzen crying, that was real? Sen Qingqiu lashes out embarrassed. What's crying? I don't know anything about that. He tries to walk away, but Lo Binghe holds him tightly from behind. But he accidentally touches Lo Binghe's injured right arm, causing him to groan in pain. Lo Binghe immediately lets go to examine him in the candlelight.
Oh my god. He's such a tsundere. He's like, I wasn't crying. You're crying. What are you
You're
talking
crying.
about? These are
Get
not
away
tears.
from me.
I'm not trying. Yeah. The more Lo Binghe looks, the more shocked he becomes. Every inch of Shen Qingqiu's body is covered in injuries. Wasn't he perfectly fine before Lo Binghe fainted? He says in a trembling voice, this was all for me? Shen Qingqiu is going to spit blood. If not for Lo Binghe, then who? But he's too embarrassed to make a big deal out of it, and he says, your hand. Let go. Lo Binghe says softly, I won't. Shizen, don't be angry. I was wrong. Shen Qingqiu thinks, you say that so many times. He tries to wave him away, but Lo Binghe latches even tighter like sticky candy, and he says, Shizen, why don't you hit me? You can beat me up to vent your anger. Shen Qingqiu thinks, help, there's a masochist over here. Someone come lock him up.
Ha ha ha. Oh, what a heartfelt scene though. Oh my god.
I know. Like, he didn't see how injured he was until he saw him in the light. He was just mad, and then he like realizes all that he's done for him. He's like, oh fuck, I fucked up. I was wrong.
Yeah. Cho just starts to walk down the corridor, with Lobingha sticking to him the entire time. After a while, Cho says helplessly, "You're always like this, crying and admitting your wrongs, but you never change. What's the point?" Lobingha is close to sobbing. "I'll change, all right? Sen, don't abandon me." Seeing him act so pathetically makes Cho want to smack him on the head. Where did he go wrong? How did he raise such a crybaby? What would everyone say if they knew that this fearsome Lobingha hung to his Suzen's sleeve and wailed when no one was around? Who would fucking believe it? Not even Ying Ying cried this much.
Oh my god. Ah, it's such a good scene though. Because like they already had so many misunderstandings, and yet there's another misunderstanding here where like Lobingha thinks that Cho abandoned him in a coffin while he was like unconscious, just to join up with the other two demons. And Cho's like, bro, I like risked my entire ass life to save you, and you're gonna treat me this way. Just like starts crying. Oh my god, I love that
know,
so much.
I love it. But also like, wow, what a freaking abusive relationship.
I know. He's just like, oh, just hit me. It's fine. I know I made you upset. Just hit me.
Oh man, love it though. What do you guys think of this scene? Isn't it so good?
Oh my god, it's so good. I love this whole coffin, the mausoleum arc. So good. It's like, this is where all the like annoying like misunderstandings finally gets like released, because like Cho is like, this is where Cho realizes that that Lobingha did nothing wrong. Like he literally was just like being an obsessed disciple and like just trying to like be with him all the time, and because the entire time Cho thinks like Lobingha is like this two-faced like manipulative asshole who's trying to kill Cho and all this stuff, and he's like, oh my god, Lobingha is just like an idiot. He's like he's just a dumbass. He's just a dumbass who's in love with me. He doesn't know anything. Like that's all he is.
And it took him dying twice to reconcile with all of that.
Yep. So you know, it's fine. Two deaths. Two whole deaths.
God damn.
Poor Lobingha. So traumatized.
Yeah. Oh man. And that's like he reacts to everything by like crying about it instead of,
I know,
going to therapy.
Really angry or like really upset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about our off topics today.
Absolutely.
So I want to talk about a manhwa called Lost in the Cloud.
Okay.
And let me tell you the synopsis of it. Our main character, his name is, okay, let me try to remember. It's Skylar. Our main character's name is Skylar, and it's set in high school. He's part of the photography club, and he takes a lot of pictures of one of the members in his photography club, Chanil. How do you pronounce it? Like Chanil. Chanil. Oh my god. Chanil. Chanil.
Yeah, you're fine. It's good. Call him Channy.
Channy. Okay, so he takes a lot of pictures of him from afar, like stalker style, where he like is like, all the way in the window, and then he watches him from like the soccer field. And it's like
normal behavior.
Yeah, and so he saves all these photos on his on the cloud, and then somebody else from his class, Cyrus, finds this folder and blackmails him. And the Cyrus is Chanel's like friend in his friend group. And so he's like threatening him like, hey, I'm going to show this to Chanel and he'll know that you're this creepy stalker, like gay guy. There's a lot of homophobia in this story, by the way.
Okay.
And our boy is not someone who just rolls over. He's kind of like not even a tsundere. He's like an angry boy. He doesn't care about anyone. He doesn't want anyone to like be friends with him. He doesn't want to be around anyone. And so he like fights back immediately, but then Cyrus fights back. It's like a whole lot of fight. There's a lot of beating each other up in this story.
Okay.
And he gets entangled with him. Skylar and Cyrus end up like needing to hang out a lot because of circumstance. And you realize that Skylar has like a really traumatic middle school life, and Cyrus had a really traumatic childhood, and both of them are these like angry boys who will literally just do all the bad things instead of like go to therapy and treat each other like shit.
Their feelings.
Yeah. So what ends up happening is you find out that Skylar had a childhood friend who he was like best friends with for years, and then eventually developed a crush on. And one day he accidentally like kisses him while he's sleeping. Accidentally, and his best friend like was like, what the fuck are you doing? This is disgusting, don't fucking touch me, type of thing. Like super homophobic. So later on he like Skylar tries to apologize to his best friend, and his best friend's like, fine, if you want to apologize, like you really don't have feelings for me, like I didn't think that it was like bad, maybe you should kiss me again. He's like, well, okay. And so he blindfolds him. This is like super spoiler, by the way. Blindfolds Skylar, and Skylar is like blindfolded, and he's like, all right, let's kiss. And so they start kissing, and he realized like the kiss is kind of not fun. It's like gross. It's very loud saliva. He's like, what is going on? And so he hears from behind him, you really enjoy this, don't you? And he realizes that his best friend is not even the one kissing him. He takes off the blindfold. There's like this ugly guy, this ugly like classmate, who's like making out with him. He's like, oh, you made me do it, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, so like his best friend like completely betrayed him, was like, you disgust me. Like he straight up is like, the best friend's like, you're disgusting, I hate you, and like I wish that we were never friends, like all this kind of stuff. He says all the bad things, and ends up like in the really bad situation where all of the people who were their friends like start bullying Skylar, like beat him up, like every day comes home like his grades are failing. There might be some stuff that happened that was like off screen that they don't show, but they might have non-conned him. It's really dark. It's completely yeah. So then Skylar ends up like having to transfer to a different school, move completely out of the area, and like it becomes a loner and doesn't have any friends. And that's when he joins the photography club because he has to. And Chanil is just a nice guy who keeps wanting to be Skylar's friend. And he keeps and Skylar keeps pushing him away. Like, don't fucking talk to me. You're just like, I don't want to be your friend. You're so annoying. But then eventually like his walls break down. He's like, okay, I want to be his friend now. I think I like him a lot. And that's why the photos happen. And so Cyrus, his fucking backstory, oh my god, he's a rich boy, and his mom died when he was really young, like 6 years old. His mom died, and he never got over his mom's death. And his dad was trying to be a good dad, but eventually was like, I hate my son, and I can't go on without my wife. Like, I hate this kid. And he ends up like remarrying to different wives like 5 times, like new stepmoms. Every few years. And so Cyrus like eventually like kicks out every stepmom somehow. Like he just runs the stepmoms out of the house, and he is determined to like ruin the lives of like all of the adults around him and anyone he like cares about, because he wants them to feel the same suffering that he feels. So now present day, he like has gone through all this stuff with Skylar, and you know, eventually he gives back the photos, and all he wants now is to just be Skylar's friend. But like Skylar's like hates him so much after like being tortured by him, basically, like, you know, being blackmailed by him. So the story is just kind of like watching them progress slowly over the course of like the school year and seeing like how they react to each other's like mean trauma and stuff. I really like the story so much. It's so dark.
Yay. Okay, cool.
You know me. I'm the captain of angst.
Yep. If it doesn't make you upset, then it's not worth reading.
Exactly.
So I am still on my Space AU fanfic journey, and I am reading this fic called From the Ashes, written by Mostly Nonsense. It's a Monazushi Space AU. And this one's, I really love this one because it's so different from all the other ones. And just in general, it's really different from all the like Monazushi fanfics that I've read, because it's set in Lanjan's perspective. And I remember this, you said a while ago you wanted a fanfic where Lanjan hates Wei Ying.
Yes.
This is the fanfic where Lanjan hates Wei Ying. It's like such a slow burn because it's like 82,000 words, and like literally for 2/3 of the fanfic, Lanjan fucking hates Wei Ying's guts. Like here's like some backstory. They're in space. There was a huge like atomic bomb level war with like an alien race, and it was all over a misunderstanding. It was like a war that should never have happened, because the humans they're like expanding, so they went into this alien people's territory, and the aliens like accidentally, because they didn't know. And the aliens thought they were like invading, so they like defended themselves by like shooting fire. And the humans are like, oh fuck, we're getting fired upon. We have to shoot them back. And so like this huge like mega galactic war happened, where like a lot of people were conscripted into the army. A lot of people fucking died. Eventually, the humans invented a like it's an atomic bomb, but like space level. Like it was so bad that it like destroyed planets.
Damn.
And it was so traumatic and upsetting that literally Lanjan has PTSD from it because he's like a survivor. Like there was like the war was separated into like red sector, blue sector, green sector, and he was in a sector that saw a lot of warfare. And he's like he has like a lot of PTSD from like seeing everyone die from this bomb. The purpose of this war was pointless. It was all just over a stupid misunderstanding. A lot of aliens died, a lot of humans died, and it was like, for what? And his family has always been in the military. They're like a military family, and he decides to leave the military after this war is over and there's like peace. He's like, I can't deal with this anymore. I can't deal with death. I can't deal with murder. I'm just gonna live another life. And his uncle is really disappointed in him because like, we are from a proud generation of military people. Like, you can't just leave the military. And he's like, I can't. And so his brother encourages him to leave, and he decides to just be like because he's all he knows is like fighting and like defending. So he decides to be like a small time security guard for this small like trade ship, like a trade vessel. So he's in this trade vessel. He just wants like a quiet life where like there's no more fighting and no more war, no more conflict. But he is introduced with the second security. There's two security guards. It's him and Weiing. And Weiing was also in the war, but he was in the sector that never saw warfare. Like, he was in the safe sector. So Weiing is like, you know, he makes jokes about the war. He makes jokes. He like plays it off very lightly. And Lanjan hates him for it. It's like, you don't even know what you're talking about. Shut the fuck up. Like, I went through so much. I saw so much death. You didn't see any fighting. You didn't see any death. You have no idea what you're talking about. Shut up. Like, he just hates his guts. He just doesn't like how he takes light of everything, because like to Lanjan it was like a really deep mental scar, like in his heart. So like for like fucking 2/3 of the novel, it's like they are forced to interact with each other because like while they're trading, like they get into like, most of the time it's safe, and they're able to like explore other planets and like learn people's like interact with the other alien species, and like it's a lot of like you know, just kind of chill. But Lanjan and Weiing also like train daily with each other, and they have to like spar. And like, despite himself, Lanjan thinks that Weiing, like, I can see why Weiing is popular. Like, he's very personable, he's very chatty, he can make friends with anyone in the crew. But I fucking hate him. He just like he like constantly gets on his nerves. They have to like room together, so he's like constantly disrupting his routine, and he is like making light of his trauma. So like every single like interaction with him is like laced with this like anger and like resentment, right? Eventually shit goes down where the Wens are trying to like initiate another war because they want more power, because of the previous war they were able to rise to power and get a lot of money. So they have this plan where they take an alien ship and pretend like they're gonna drop another like atomic bomb on this new human planet to offset another war so they get rich. So Weiing and Lanjan like find out that this is happening and like try to interject, and like they're like they try to interject, and like Weiing is like has a panic attack when he sees that the bomb was on the ship, and he's like, Lanjan is like, why are you having a panic attack? You've never like you've earned the safe sector. What, like, this doesn't make any sense. But it turns out that Weiing was actually at the last minute he was transferred into another sector because he was like fucking around too much. So like his supervisor's like, you have to go over there. And while he was fighting there, it was literally at the moment where that bomb went off, and he was right on the edge of it. So he literally saw like all of this people that he ever met in his entire life, like all the people he met, all the people that he was friends with, literally all died in front of him. And he's so like, his coping mechanism was to like make fun of it and like not talk about it and like make light of the situation. But like seeing the bomb in front of him like made him freeze, and it almost caused the Wens to like kill an entire planet until Lanjan like was able to like step in and like save him and then stop the bomb from going off. But like, it just like, there was this really big crucial turning point where Lanjan realizes that like all his hatred and like anger towards Weiing was a complete big misunderstanding. because like Lanjan did see battle. I mean, Wang did see battle. Wang is just as traumatized. He just dealt with trauma in a different way, and Lanjan didn't know that. He didn't like accept that for him. So he just constantly assumed that Wang was like fucking around this entire time, and so like Lanjan's like shift in personality and like how he views Wang, and then like Wang is like, after that moment happens, Wang is like super like all his trauma that he's been like bottling up finally comes out, and he's like suicidal, like he doesn't like, he's like really upset, like he's like he keeps waking up from nightmares, like he doesn't know, he can't sleep alone, and like he like one of the nights he even tries to like go into Lanjan's bed and like get physical affection from him in order to like calm down, and Lanjan's like, no, this isn't right, like you're not in the right headspace, like we have to stop this, even though like he does have feelings for him. It's like really sad, it's very angsty, but I swear to God, there's a happy ending.
desire this.
Yeah, it's really good. It's like, it's just so much like, it's like a slow burn, so there's a lot of like character development and like a lot of reading about what people think about each other. There's like not much action, it's a lot of like just introspective character development. So if you're into that, I highly recommend this fic.
Yeah. Okay, I just added it to my mark for later.
Oh, there you go. It's really good.
I love that. Oh man. Okay, cool. Let's talk about Patreon.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for supporting us on Patreon. We like to read comments from people and reply back to them. So let's talk about season 2, episode 9, bottom show. Abby says, I'm a zookeeper specializing in primates, and now I'm trying to figure out which MXTX characters all my animals are. I will never look at them the same way again.
You have to report back and tell us about your animals.
Yes. So the reason why they posted that was because the fic that I was talking about was where the characters were anime, like were animals. They were like mermaids. So, and they had a zookeeper who was like keeping them. Yeah. The mermaid AU, but not the kind you think it is.
It's not the sexy mermaid. It's like literally animal zookeeper.
Let's see. She also they also posted, have you guys watched Mingyang? So I've watched the first 3 episodes. I don't know if you guys know this, but the author actually had to take it down from Vimeo, even though I paid for it. So now I'm out like $4. It's not a big deal.
It got put back.
Did it?
Yeah. Oh, wait, you didn't see this?
Oh, okay, good.
No, Adonia sent me a Twitter post from the production company. They put it back. Everyone was outraged. The fans were listened to.
Yeah, dude, I was so pissed. I only watched like the first episode. I haven't seen it all. Well, me and Jenny, do you want to do a reaction video? Because you're talking about that.
I was thinking it'd be fun to do a reaction video.
Yeah,
I just don't know like
I still haven't watched it yet.
I want to figure out logistically. It's probably best to do it in Vegas or in LA.
We can figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was thinking that'd be a fun episode.
Yeah, I would like that.
Yeah.
And then Abby also said, I just saw Good Omens Tiangguan Sifu fan art on Instagram.
Yes.
Oh, we have to go look for that.
Yes, that is. I was saying like that is such a good AU. Where's the fanfics? Where's the Heaven Official Good Omens fanfics? Because their personalities are just so them. Like it's so good. They have a good character dynamic.
They recommend the fanfic. The fan art. I'm actually gonna go look for it right now.
I want to see it.
Where is this art? Is it this one? Oh, okay. There's this one, and then they said that there was another piece too. I think this one.
That's cute. That's cute. I love that.
Cute. Okay. And then on episode 51 of Heaven Official's Blessing, Cindy asks, I just caught up to this part of the podcast and I'm confused and need someone to explain. Does Xianan lose his powers if he has sex? Isn't his cultivation based on purity?
Yes, he does.
So is he weaker now?
Yes, he does. But remember that Hua Cheng lends him spiritual energy. So like every single time Hua Cheng gives him bodily fluids or like kissing or like any single time they're touching, Hua Cheng is giving him spiritual energy. So Shelion, just like how Shelion is able to absorb spiritual energy in heaven because like there's so much spiritual energy in heaven, he has powers when in heaven, but on Earth there is no spiritual energy, so he has to rely on, like, you know, people praying to him and like incense and stuff. But since he has none of that in the mortal realm, he is literally 100% relying on Hua Cheng to get all the juju. But now later on, like at the epilogue of Heaven Official, there's a scene where people pray to Shelly and Hua Cheng together. So through those prayers, he now has spiritual energy.
But also remember in one of the episodes where he lost his memory in like the extra chapters, he like reverts back to his 16-year-old self, and he realizes he doesn't have any spiritual power and got like lost, and it's because he didn't have any from Hua Cheng. Hua Cheng didn't give him any.
Hua Cheng didn't provide him with any.
Yeah.
He's So Hua Cheng, just it's an endless supply of. They have to have sex a lot, I guess.
Or just
I guess that's
dual
what they do.
cultivation.
Just constantly cultivating. Yep. Yep. That's end of that sentence.
So then on season 2, episode 10, Kate Payne says, "The regret of Chin Chin, BL in song form. I love this part so much. Yes. Senjin Cho's horror while Sitsi Long giggling at him is so funny."
Yes. That is so. Just imagine you're just listening to someone sing about you, fucking someone you think hates you, and you're just like, where did this fucking come from?
Where does this come from?
Who wrote this?
She also says, "It's crazy to me that Senjin Cho took so long to figure out that the novel he dropped into was really just a fanfic of the novel he hated so much. I've only read Scum Villain once, and it took a long time, and it was a long time ago, so it's almost like a totally new story to me because I don't remember half of what happened. You guys are doing an awesome job so far, and thanks with the help figuring out who is who in the novel. So many names that are so alike. Aw, thank you, Kate.
That is the best comment ever.
Like, Kate's all best.
I'm really glad, because when I read it, I was also very confused, and it would have been nice to have someone like hold my hand and explain to me like over and over again like who was what. So I hope we're doing a good job, and if you still need an explanation on like who a character is, please let us know. I would love to do a deep dive and I'll go through a character's history so that you're not confused about who that character is.
Yeah. There's a lot. There's always a lot. All right, let me just make sure that our stint here is updated.
I think we got some new patrons though.
Yes, we did get a bunch of new patrons. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. It means a lot to us. So every episode we like to thank our students, which is our top tier on Patreon. So big thanks to Owl.
Thank you, FazeBoy23.
Thank you, Kita.
Thank you, Little Princess Shy.
Thank you, Kate.
Thank you, Dumb Hummus and his white cheddar cheesin'.
And thank you, Rob.
Thank you so much for being our top tier patrons. We couldn't have this show without you. Really appreciate all your support.
Yeah. Do we have a quote for today?
Yes. I don't know which. Do you want me to say the one you underlined?
I think both.
Shizen, why don't you hit me? You can beat me up to vent your anger.
The little masochist.
I know. Shizen, don't be angry. I was wrong. Oh my god.
Ha. Thanks for listening. See you guys next week.
Love you. Bye.
Awesome. Good stuff. Thank you guys so much for listening here on YouTube. I hope you guys have had a good time here. If you'd like to continue watching us on YouTube, please let us know, because Jenny and I have been talking about it, whether or not it's like you guys enjoy this live stream or not.
Yeah, we're just trying to think logistically, like what we should focus our attention on, and we're not sure if the live stream is a plus or minus. Yeah, so please leave a comment and be like, yo, this is my highlight, and if you stop this, I will literally cry. Or be like, nah, take it or leave it. I listen to your podcast on Spotify. Yeah, let us know. Okay, thank you. Bye, everybody. See you.